If you're looking for a cozy side dish to one of your fall dinners, keep watching today because today we're going to make country style or southern style sliced fried apples. So let's get in with it. I've already peeled my apples. I'm going to try to make this quick because I got a lot to do today. I got to go to work this afternoon, and I thought I've been craving this because the apples are all in right now. My friend gave me a bunch of apples, some Honey Crisp, and so I'm like, I got to use those up, and I think this is a good idea. So I went ahead and sliced and cored my apples. I'm probably just to do one more. I was like, I've done mostly Honey Crisp. I think there's a couple of golden, or no, maybe there's one golden delicious, one pink. And depending on the region of the country you're in, you're going to have different apples. I don't recommend Granny Smith for this because they are harder to cook down for this recipe. I use it in Apple Crisp and yeah, what else? Like apple pie and stuff like that, where it's going to cook a little bit longer. So let's, you know what? I got a Cosmic Crisp, which I'm not sure if they're going to be too, but let's try a Cosmic Crisp. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and that's one of the ones they have. They have a lot of Gala. They have, let me go ahead and peel this while I'll chat with you. But they have Gala, Fuji, Pink Ladies. Now this one called Pink. Of course, they have the Golden Delicious and Granny Smith here. I'm trying to think what else. If you're from the Pacific Northwest, go ahead and leave in the comments some of the apples. It just slips my mind right now what we have out here for us. There's another one. It's called the Envy. I think I saw that. That was a little bit on the expensive side, so I didn't get any of those. And one of my favorite is Macintosh. Those Macintosh are great for like applesauce, and we definitely are going to make some applesauce this season because we have so many apples, and we got to have all our favorite apple recipes. And applesauce is definitely homemade applesauce. So good. That's pretty affordable, right? Affordable makes for a nice snack for the kids after school, or just a side dish with your dinner. And I make delicious potato pancakes. I already have a video on that. So if you're looking for some really fun fall recipes, the applesauce and potato pancakes, yum. All right, so I'm just going to slice these finger, or like a little sliced wedges, not even finger width, I guess. But you don't want them too thin so that they turn to mush. You don't want them too thick that it takes forever. And I have my pan heating up a little bit. I've got it on low. So, and just slice these up. Now, to keep these from turning brown, we're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. And I've already started cutting, but see, some of them are starting to oxidize a little, and it really hasn't been that long. But this is, apples will really cook down, so keep in mind how many you're serving. Now, I forgot to count how many I did. I think I've got like 7 apples here, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just my husband and I, but I like to have leftovers, so we won't eat this in one meal. And it probably lasts a couple of days in the fridge. I mean, it probably lasts a little bit longer, but before it tastes the best, I would say eat it that day, or, you know, you can have it in the fridge for a couple of days. The ones on these apples on the bottom of the bowl, they're really oxidized. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and get my lemon juice, my lemon, fresh lemon. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on those. Now for refreshments, I did refreshments at church this past Sunday, and I cut up a bunch of apples and oranges and threw a little lemon juice on there, and they kept pretty good. So I had some leftovers. I put them in a airtight storage container, put it in the fridge, and I've been snacking on those. It was pretty nice to have that all sliced up. Because I don't know about you, but now that I'm older, it's hard for me just to bite right into an apple, because some of the apples are, if it's a softer apple, that's fine, but some of these apples are hard to bite into, especially like not a golden delicious, red delicious, right? So if you have them nice and sliced up, they're easy to chew. And for littles, like, preschoolers and stuff, get those little teeth. They just need a little slice to bite into. Of course, got to be careful too that they don't put the whole wedge in their mouth. That's something to think about. Have you got some tips for apple slices for kids? Because sometimes little kids, they don't know any better, and they'll put that whole big slice in their mouth, and that will not be good. So we're going to take a couple of tablespoons of butter. This is such a simple recipe. I'm not going to even measure. I'm going to eyeball it. And now I'm turning up mine to medium high. I got it like on 8 on my little stove top here, and let's get that going. Let's let that melt a little bit, then we'll throw our apples in there. And I think this is probably at max, it'll probably like take 20 minutes. Doesn't take long at all. So let's put a pinch of salt. We're going to use some brown sugar. Let's go ahead and let's put the sugars in first. Now here's the great part about this. You can put as much sugar or a little as you want. You could probably do maple syrup if you want a more natural sweetener. And what especially I'm thinking about, like when you're serving kids, what you start out with, if you start out with your kids and you're using, like maple syrup and honey for most of your sweeteners, they're going to grow accustomed to that, and maybe they won't have a sweet tooth. I have a terrible sweet tooth. My mom always made wonderful desserts, a lot of regular sugar, and it's been hard to break that, which I'm not blaming my mom. It's like my generation or our parents' generation. I'm in my 60s, early 60s. And right, we grew up with desserts and sugar. But, of course, if you look at people back then, they weren't as overweight as even people are nowadays, which I'm overweight. So I've been making all these desserts, and there's all these processed foods, I think, that get us to gain weight, right? So we're gonna, saying all that, I am using brown sugar because I want to show you this is like a nice southern home-cooked old-fashioned recipe. If you ever go to, I'm going to use 3 tablespoons. You know what? Let's do 4 because it's like a 1/4 cup. And I go to Cracker Barrel. If you go to Cracker Barrel, they have these as one of their sides, and I always, 99% of the time, I get this because I just love it. Now, that's not a whole ton of sugar. Some people put a lot more. You certainly can add more if that's not going to be sweet enough for you. All right, let's put some cinnamon. I'm gonna use 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And you can adjust that to your liking. If you don't want a lot of cinnamon, then just put 1 teaspoon. And I'm going to put a little bit of fresh grated nutmeg. That's probably like a 1/4 teaspoon there. I love that smell. That smells like fall. And then we're going to put, I think on there we're going to need 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I use gluten-free. You can use regular all-purpose. And this is going to thicken up. I'm giving that a good stir because I want all that flour to I'm stirring and cooking this for a minute. Oh, I go back and edit my videos and I go, oh, I didn't finish my sentence. I stir that flour so there's none, like raw flour on any of the pan or the apples. And you want to cook that for about a minute to get that flour taste. You don't want to have that. And I'm going to get a little bit of apple cider. You don't have to do it this way. You can use apple juice or just a little bit of water. But we need a little bit of liquid in there. Probably I just started out with 2 tablespoons. And we probably can use a little bit more. I like to start out with a little less and then. So I think when we have maybe a 1/4 cup of apple cider in here, that's just going to intensify our. You don't want it too much because you don't want it watery. But this is going to thicken up as it sits here and cooks. So kind of have to adjust. Did I put everything I wanted in here? I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think so. Need the butter, the cinnamon, the nutmeg. I feel like I need a little more nutmeg. I want to be smelling that. You could put a little allspice in here if you wanted. Or mace, those are nice fall. Oops. Woo. I'm going to turn this down now to low. Let that simmer. We'll check this back in about 10 minutes and need a little more liquid because some of that is sticking to the bottom. I want to deglaze that pan, but these are going to be nice and juicy. So trying to have that nice balance of not it too watery. And I might add a little more as I go along. I'm kind of eyeballing it here. I'll try to get a close-up, and we're going to let this cook on low for about 10 minutes. And we're going to have a nice side dish for supper. All right, here's a close-up, and you can see. I want to just see in the pan and see what I mean. If you can see a little bit stuck on there. And that's what I was putting that liquid in there, so it would kind of deglaze that pan. But it's pretty much deglazed. All right. Let's come back in 10 minutes and see where we're at. We want to see how tender. And those apples are pretty good, so They're not quite there. Might need be a little, well, might be a little less than. I'm going to put it on medium low. We got about 30 seconds left till these are done. They've been cooking for an extra or 10 minutes, and before that, before we put the timer on, they probably were cooking what, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So I would say a good 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how tender you like your apples. If you like a little crunch in it, do it at 20 minutes. If you like them a little more mushy, or like very tender, I'm going to give a couple of tries here. I got to turn this off because I have to get ready for work. So I will let them sit here. They probably will cook a little just sitting on the heat. And they still are, they need another 5 to 7 minutes. Maybe 5. Because they're still kind of got more of a crunch to it than I want. So the flavors are amazing. So I'm going to put this on low. And I'll try to show you when I serve it up, because this will be for supper. Yummy, yum. And one thing I will mention, these are great for just a side. Serve them on pancakes, waffles, ice cream. If you want to get your apple crisp or apple pie started, you can go ahead and do these ahead and then like add that to the pan, because I see some people do that. They cook their apples a little bit ahead for their apple crisp. So those are just some ideas.